good evening, gang, and welcome to It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and I'm your host. And to my right and to your left is the lovely Valerie Eliason. Hello, Val. How are you?
Hello, Glenn. I'm well. How are you?
Welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming back again. I always worry whether or not the first time we scare you enough so that you've run and changed your address, but no.
I didn't. I still live in the same place.
You're back. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I want to remind everybody that we are coming to you live from our beautiful studios here at BNN TV, and you're more than welcome to join us if you'd like. We're at 617-708-3290. Get you right to the desk of David in the other room. The gang are in there answering the phones first. So if you'd like to join us and let us know what's going on in your life, in your artful community, please feel free to do so. So Valerie, how are you this week?
I'm great. I've had a pretty busy week. A lot of things going on.
That's great.
I saw the James Wyeth exhibit at the MFA.
Tell me, talk to me.
Oh God, it was wonderful. He paints on cardboard, and he has this series of seagulls. It's not the downstairs. It's more over to the left when you go in.
Okay.
But he did this series of the 7 deadly sins portrayed as seagulls.
Okay.
So, you know, the whole greed, sloth, lust thing, everything as seagulls. And it's captivating, really. It's amazing.
Now, when you say it's on cardboard, is he painting on cardboard? Is it
Yep, he's painting on cardboard. Painted on cardboard. You wouldn't even think it was cardboard if you didn't read the little side stories about it.
What size are the pieces?
Oh, gosh, about
24.
Yeah, about yay big. He has a couple of really large, gorgeous pieces, but I've never seen anything like it before. It was really amazing.
Now, do you like the MFA? Is the MFA someplace you
I do. I spend more time at the ICA, honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
I like more contemporary art.
Right.
I do love the exhibits that they bring into the MFA, though, because they bring such huge names and such. I remember when they had the Chuli exhibit.
Yeah, that was the last big one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Excuse me. And I went in a bunch of times. Jan and I are members, of course, you know, and whenever there was a friend over or someone says, let's drop and go.
Yes.
And we'd do that and be able to do the modern, the United States contemporary section. And so it's a great place to hang out. And then I like to go down the street to the Isabel Gardner, too. That's one of my
that
favorite
place is
hangs.
gorgeous.
That's someplace you can just find a corner, sit and discover new things over and over again.
Absolutely. Did you see that they found the Rembrandt? They recovered the Rembrandt that was stolen. This was probably maybe 3 weeks ago or so.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Where was it?
Ah, gosh, I didn't read too much of the backstory, but it was definitely some art thieves that had obviously stolen the Rembrandt.
You think?
But yeah, they recovered it. I'm not sure what they're doing it from there. If they're going to be re-putting it back in the empty frame.
One of the weird things. Well, the empty frames is one of the weirdest things.
One of the eeriest things there.
The fabulous Rebecca took me there for Father's Day, and we were walking through, and she actually commented on, "What? Oh, this looks like the wall," and I said. It is, dear. That's where they stole the paintings. And she was aghast. You know, she had not really known the story too much about it, but she was really horrified and kind of like, well, why are the frames there? So you don't forget.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good. I'm glad they got it back.
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Are you showing any place lately? No, we talked about that last week, but we've got to get you showing something.
Yeah, I would love to.
When can we get some of your art to peek at?
Next, I have a website. I mean, we could pop some up over a break, or even next show. Yeah. Next
show would be nice to bring it up. Next show we're gonna have the Rosendale Arts Alliance.
Oh, that'd be great.
And they've been loading up our BNN gallery up there, and there's a bunch of stuff up there. And I'm proud to say there's a piece of mine up there, and there's a piece of the lovely Janice Marie Williams, my bride, of 30 years today. Today is our anniversary. I want to make sure I shout out to Janice and tell her how much I love her and how much we're very, very fortunate. How happy I am for her to let me be her husband this long.
Now, what special things do you have planned for her?
Well, I sent her some flowers today, which was nice.
Very nice.
And I think I'm taking her out to a nice dinner tonight. Right. I think we're going to go to the Last Hurrah.
Oh.
Because we got married at King's Chapel next to the Parker House.
No kidding.
Yes, and our reception was in the Grand Ballroom of the Parker House.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Back when you could afford it for 310 people, yeah. It was quite the affair.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
But, yeah, so I think we're going to go in there for a nosh. a bit of
Oh,
reminiscing,
good.
maybe a dance or two.
Fancy, fancy.
Fancy. So what else did you see at the museum, or did you just go specifically for that?
Specifically, I didn't actually go for that. I went with some of my friends from the Mills Gallery with the BCA. I went with Cynthia and Randy.
Oh.
And we went with a couple. They have some interns and some volunteers there. We went to go look at some pieces and to do some creative thinking about them, some discussion what we thought the artist was trying to portray, how we felt about it. Mm-hmm. It was a really great time. I got to sort of mull around some ideas with some really creative people.
That's great.
And afterwards sort of wander down into the James Wythe exhibit.
That's great. You know, you're going to be with us now for a while, and we're very, very happy. I guess we can officially announce you're going to be the co-host of this show.
Thank you. I'm honored.
And I am. Thank you so much for showing your enthusiasm and that you want to be part of this crazy thing that we do here every week.
Absolutely.
But we're going to be adding on, but I think it's a good time for people to get to know you a little bit. And I think that the people are going to be asking, the 3 people that watch this show will all want to know, how long have you been involved in the arts? I mean, is it something that's been, I know I asked you, we touched it a little bit last week, but yeah. I think we should probably learn a little bit more about you.
Almost as far back as I can remember. Growing up, I wanted to go to school for art. Mm-hmm. Went to Framingham State University. Got my Bachelor's of Arts there. I studied studio art, concentration in graphic
When you
design.
say studio art, can you explain that a little bit for our BNN friends that might not understand?
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything. I did some illustration classes. I did some painting classes. I did intaglio, which was this really interesting technique of using acid to wear down different layers of steel plates and then doing like a printing press rub over it. So you
don't do that in your t-shirt, do you?
Oh, definitely not.
No.
You got to wear some heavy aprons. But it was such a great process because you'd put, the actual terms of, I hope my art teachers aren't watching this because they would think I would flunk the class, but I didn't. Put on.
You've got the paperwork.
I got the paperwork. Yeah, you put different levels of seals on the metal plates and expose different parts of it to the acid, so it would wear down different areas. And then when you ran the ink over it and ran the paper over it, it would create these gorgeous images. And I was always surprised what I would come up with because a lot of things were accidental. A lot of things I would sometimes forget they were in the acid
Well, when
bath.
you're playing with acid, I'm thinking you've got to be pretty precise where you're putting it down.
Yeah, definitely.
That sounds fascinating.
It was so fun.
Do you have some pieces?
I think I might still have some pieces, yeah.
I want to see that.
Absolutely.
That'll be some of what you'll bring in.
Okay.
But is it traditional easel, canvas, painting is not necessarily your
Not so
thing?
much. I did some oil painting for a little while, but I really love working with spray paints. I love the gradients you can get with them. I love, especially when I make stencils, I love the sharp edges I can get, and just really, I just really connected with that medium of art, and it's definitely where I like to spend most of my time.
Right. Now, when you're working, do you have a dedicated space where you can, this is where I do my thing?
Well, I'm actually moving in a couple weeks, so I will have a much larger dedicated
I heard that you're moving
to Rosin.
The garden part of the state.
I can't wait.
I love Rosin. You're going to be up by the Arboretum, too.
I am, yeah. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be gorgeous.
So, but you'll have some dedicated space there?
Yes, I'll have almost an entire room.
That's important to an artist, a visual artist, to be able to come back to the room and have it still be the same way you left it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Our Janice works at the kitchen table, and she loves doing that.
Yeah.
But then you got to kind of tidy up and put things away and then break it out again. But I just, I have a spot, and I don't change it, and it's where I just have to have an atmosphere. Do you have an atmosphere? Are you listening to, I don't know, Mozart or Patti Smith or the Talking Heads, or what? Do you put on something to kind of inspire you and lift you to where you're gonna?
I usually do. I've actually been listening to Alt J and Glasser recently. While I've been spray painting, it's it's kind of almost trance-like a little bit, the music.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy it. It gets me sort of in the groove with creating, and just I lose hours sometimes listening to it.
Are you the kind of disciplined artist that can sit there and say, you know, I've got nothing to do Thursday at 4, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to finish that piece that I've been working on? Or is it like wake up in the middle of the night and go, I got to do that now?
I'm definitely the wake up in the middle of the night type of person. It has to, it hits you and you got to do it right then. I can't plan things out.
Yeah, I don't have that. I can't do that with my music either, and that's bad. Because writing, you want to be able to let it happen, but you want to be disciplined enough to say, okay, I've got to go down and finish that middle eight, or I have to finish that coda, or do something to the end. And I sit there and I end up, playing old Beatle tunes. It just doesn't get done, But to be able to have that discipline is it's people say they have it, but I'll bet that their best work is when they
wake up in the middle of the night. Yep.
And something hits them.
Well,
it'd be nice to have a spot to be able to do that.
Yeah, I can't wait. It'll be nice. I'll have a huge dining room to do it. My roommate that I'm moving in with, she's an artist also.
Oh, that's going to be helpful.
We mesh so well together in our styles, and when one of us starts to create, the other one likes to jump into the room and start creating too. We definitely challenge each other and inspire each other creatively.
Nice.
It's really nice.
Is she the same kind of medium as you? Is she kind of doing the
she
same
uses
thing?
a little bit more mixed medias. She likes a lot of patterns, especially different fabrics, but we both use the same epoxy to sort of finish and coat and seal everything in the end.
Now, are you when you say epoxy, are you sealing the pieces with polyurethane, or are you using some kind of a glue, maybe Mod Podge or something of that nature?
It's a 2-part epoxy. I'm at a loss for the brand name
That's okay.
right
We don't
now.
have to sell it. I just wonder, is it more of a gluey, yucky, thicky?
It's very thick and syrupy. It needs to cure for about 24 hours. So you got to pour it on, spread it out, and then just sort of let it sit there with no one touching it, no cat fur, no dust, no nothing, for about 24 hours.
Couldn't work in my place. 'Cause I'm this. Oh wow, look at that. What's that on the corner? I'll get it all messed up.
It's definitely, I learned a lot of discipline with that.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool. Well, dynamite.
Yeah.
Dynamite. We're going to do this a little bit every week for a little while.
All right.
So that those 3 people that are watching can get to know you a little bit. I do want to take a couple of minutes, though. I want to let everybody know how they can get in touch with us. There's a cool way of doing that. We can send us a tweet. We have a Twitter account. I have to,
Get some tweets.
Twitter account.
Yep.
Send us some tweets. We are at It's All About Art. So if you go on your Twitter account and you want to say, you're afraid to give us a call at 617-708-3290. You can send us a tweet or let us know. That's why this is here, just so that we can catch you on the fly. To let us know what's going on. If you have a question or a suggestion for the show, please feel free to let us know, because we're here trying to do this thing for you. And I also want to take an opportunity to thank the people that keep us on the air here. We're really, really fortunate to have great friends. The Boston Main Streets program is a great organization, volunteer-driven organization that helps revitalize business districts around the city. One of the things that they do is they work with the property owner with that empty storefront downstairs to get the right demographic information, the right kind of thing they need to know, who's living in the community, how much money is being made here, who's spending money outside, what kind of business do you need to have here. They work with them. Then once they get that really cool business downstairs in the storefront, the design committee comes and helps that business owner get the right kind of look, do the kind of signage that they need, get everything ready for them to open up their doors and be very successful. Then there's the promotions committee, which come along and do some kind of crazy great things in the community business district to bring people down so they can discover all these beautiful brand new stores in their neighborhood. This past weekend I did sound for the Rosendale Village Main Streets Farmers Market down in Rossie Square. We had the Creek River String Band. They were fabulous. I want to thank Eric and all those guys. They did a great, great job. Next week is a big, big show. We're very, very excited to have. We're going to be having some great Patti LaBelle. Well, that's right. That would be great if we had Patti LaBelle down. But we're very, very fortunate that Patrice Moynihan coming back down to do some work, and it's going to be a great show. So come on down and enjoy that. But that's what Main Streets does. They do all kinds of things like that. The Taste of Rosendale, Taste of Jamaica Plain, Taste of all these really cool different areas of the city. And you can, so if you see them running an event down the square, if you see someone in a Main Street t-shirt, make sure you thank them for us, please. Make sure you let them know that Valerie and Glenn are really appreciative of the support that they give us here. And thank them because they're only doing it because they're volunteers and they love their community just like you do. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is this amazing building that we're in, B&N TV. B&N TV is an opportunity for you to come and do television production. This is a space for you. If you have a nonprofit out there and you want to get your mission statement across, here's the place to come and do it. You come at this station, Channel 9. I've got a little thing going on, I'm sure you hear, but you come here and you do your programming. You invite guests on to talk a little bit about what their mission is, and people can call in and ask cool questions. And that's available here for you to do. The other side of B&N TV is if you become a member, a paid member, you get to take some amazing classes in Final Cut Pro, in Digital Performer, in Pro Tools, in lighting, in how to use these cameras, how to do sound. And you'd come in and you'd sign out all these really cool equipment, and you'd go out and you'd film the local budget meeting at your town hall or your Little League game or your cheerleading competition. Come back here, go down to the Timothy Smith, an amazing state-of-the-art Timothy Smith laboratory downstairs with all these incredible Macs, and produce a show, edit it, put it together, and lo and behold, guess what? They put it on TV for you. So this is the place to do that. If you go to www.bnntv.org, this would be the place you'd come to get that done. You'd click on Janice Williams or Jim Atwood's name, and they'll get you right straight through to the information you need. And also, we stream live there. So there are people all over the country. Actually, literally, I say that every week, but you don't, you go, oh, yeah, sure, you're saying so. I have to shout out to Evan and Chris up in Albany, New York, because they have been logging on to B&N and watching some of our shows. And always Kirsten and Dwayne over in Portland, Oregon. Believe it or not, in Portland, Oregon, we have somebody that actually tunes in and watches the show. If they miss it, they get to watch it on YouTube. This very show will be up tomorrow on YouTube. If you go to your YouTube station and put in It's All About Arts, the number 1, this show will be ready to go.
That's where I saw last week's.
That's where you saw last week's
Yep.
show. Did I miss anything?
No, I think it was great.
I got it all.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Val, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me again.
This is going to be fun. What's your buddy's name going to be? What kind of rabbit are you adopting?
Oh, yes. So I adopted a giant Flemish rabbit from the MSPCA, which I love that
I'm a little
place.
Flemish myself.
You are a bit Flemish. I'll get you a lozenge over break. Giant Flemish rabbit, all black. I'm naming him Klaus because he's Flemish.
Klaus the Flemish rabbit.
Klaus the Flemish rabbit. Huge. He's about 20 pounds. His head is the size of my foot. He's a house bunny. He's litter box trained. He's just going to hop around the house. He's just going to hang out.
Okay.
So I'm thrilled. I love the MSPCA. I love
those people over there
all the work they do with the animals over there. Yeah, they're great.
Well, we'll have to meet Klaus someday.
I'd love to bring him on the show.
Thank you. Listen, gang, we're going to take a couple of minutes break. We've got a great show for you tonight. Please do not go away. We've got some great guests, and we're going to be talking all about film. We're going to be talking about, there's a great new film that's in the process of being made. We're very fortunate to have a filmmaker coming in, not just to talk about the film that he's doing, but he's in the middle of doing it. So this is kind of like a great opportunity to meet and talk to somebody that's...
Absolutely.
They're actually running the process now, so that's going to be exciting. Listen, gang, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You're watching B&N TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn. This is Valerie. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Do not go away. Well, gang, welcome back. Thank you very much for hanging in there. My name is Glenn Williams. You're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. And we're coming to you live. If you'd like to join us, please feel free to give us a call. We're at 617-708-3290. Or you can give us a tweet if you'd like, at It's All About Arts. Please join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. And also, a quick reminder that this show will be on again tomorrow around this time on your YouTube station. If you go to YouTube and put in It's All About Arts, the number 1, we'll get you right here to see this show tonight. And right now, it's my great pleasure and honor to introduce you to Christian Kiley. Hello, Christian. How are you?
Hi, Glenn.
Welcome
How's it
to the
going?
show.
Thank you.
Thank you
It's
very
nice
much
to be
for
here.
being here.
Yeah.
Are you primarily a film dude? I mean, is it
Of late,
of
yes.
late? Is it something you've been drawn to?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so. I think I came to film. Excuse me, as an actor.
Okay.
I started off acting from when I was a kid.
Okay.
And you know, kind of one thing led to another. I actually lived in New York for a little while. I lived in LA for a little while.
How was those scenes?
They're great cities, but I felt like they were too much of a grind for me personally. And so then I came back to Boston, and when I did, I started working at Improv Boston as the director of film there.
Oh, very nice.
Those folks are great.
Yeah.
And that was a really good kind of way to learn on your feet about how to construct a narrative, especially with a very low budget, which is always a good, useful skill to have.
You know, that's one of the things. Any film cat that I've talked to that's come in to sit and talk have said that, you know, the biggest obstacle sometimes is not necessarily the creativity, but the whole getting it off.
It's a money thing.
Ground.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in film. It's hard to avoid.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it digitally, right? There's not all this selenite laying around, is there?
No. God, no.
Can you imagine?
SD cards, they're about that big.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
thank God for that, I think. But
well, as an actor, you know, what kind of pieces and what kind of cattle calls were you sending yourself on to kind of get some work?
wow, you know, kind of whatever I could get for a while, which is sort of what they say you should do.
Is it like commercials, whatever the
Actually, that's how I got my SAG card. I got on a couple of commercials.
Yeah.
And that was fun. All that work is fun. It's a little cut and dry. So it's exciting to be doing something a little bit meatier now.
Puts
I'd
rye
say.
bread on the table.
Yeah.
You know.
I think so.
But now you've kind of taken. Is it a leap?
I'd say so.
Well, it's gotta
I'm
be.
working much harder and much more consistently and sort of thoughtfully and thoroughly on a much bigger scale thing.
Well, you have a
now.
project that you're kind of you've buried yourself into now.
That's
and
right.
You're working on, and you've got a great cast of people, by the way.
I do.
That are working on this with you. Are you directing, producing, starring, writing? Which hat are you wearing?
Well, I wear many hats, and I guess so. I wrote the piece.
Let's get the name of the piece.
I'm sorry. So the piece is called Unsure Positive. It's a dramedy series, a web series, possibly. Although we're kind of trying to stay open to the possibilities.
I like that.
Yeah, or a tragic comedy.
Okay.
Serio comedy, I think, is another word for it.
I like dramedy.
Me too. I'm
there.
a big fan of that. Yeah, so we've been working really hard on this one, and I probably started writing it about a year ago.
Okay.
I'm at the MFA program at Emerson, and so this is sort of where it began. And
Congratulations! What a great program.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they're fantastic over there. It's a really great program, and really great people, and just a fantastic culture for working on stuff really hard.
You're surrounded by the best.
Yeah. So that's good, and yeah, so I've written. Produced, although I have three actually fantastic key producers who are working with me as well. So I've been doing that part totally alone, which is great. And I'm directing the piece as well. And believe it or not, yeah, I'm also acting in it in sort of the protagonist's role. So.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's the lead character,
the
if you
lead
will.
character.
Although I think that over the course of the series, we see it through to its logical end. There are a lot of other characters who would have.
So, but it is a television series that we're talking about. We're not talking about doing. This isn't Lowe's stayed in line 2.5 hour movie drama.
No, it is not.
Right.
However, I will say that of late, if you watch a lot of cable TV, especially sort of premium cable stuff, it's definitely sort of a golden age that we're living in right now.
Yes.
And it's kind of an exciting time to be just a TV fanatic like I am. I mean, I watch so much TV. And so when people ask, I usually say it's something like, my series is about, and this is sort of the pitch right now, although we're constantly reworking and coming up with different ways to pitch it.
Your elevator pitch is going to change.
It changes all the time.
Yeah.
But right now we're saying it's sort of like the Big C meets Nurse Jackie and gets HIV, because that's sort of the theme of our series. So yeah, and you know, those shows are good examples of shows that mix drama and comedy, sort of to great effect.
Now I'm gonna cut us right to the quick here. The whole drama part of this whole thing is the realization that somebody has HIV, is HIV positive, and getting the message out to the public and letting people. It's kind of like not kind of something you see regularly on TV.
I think there's maybe a small gap in the media landscape that we're hoping to fill.
Yes. It looks like that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Is it an autobiography? Is it autobiographical?
Yes.
So
not entirely.
Okay.
What I write on the title page of my script,
Yep.
when I hand it to actors and different people who might be involved, it says after the title, based on actual stuff.
Yeah. Is this the thing that dragged you into wanting to do the film?
A little bit. You know,
I mean, to be a cinema guy, a guy that's behind the camera, putting the story out there. I mean, you were an actor, and you were being an actor and stuff. And did you find that this is kind of like something that came into your life that you said, you know, I gotta tell someone about this?
I think there's a part of it that's like that. You know, I mean, I think every artist kind of uses their art maybe to excise demons, or maybe nothing even that intense, just to find a certain kind of catharsis, to kind of work through, you know, the stuff that's in your life.
Yeah.
And I think every artist does that in one way or another.
I think every songwriter writes a song to get something off their chest.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, is it kind of like that?
It's a little bit like that. It's a bit more of a process. You know, film is such a huge undertaking generally, and you know, we have a crew of probably 8 to 10 people on a light day, you know, and a cast of over a dozen people that we're working with. And so there are a lot more moving parts. There are some days when mostly I'm just producing, you know, or I'm making calls or whatever.
But you're on it all the time.
I am. Is it
I
don't sleep a lot
gig?
right now. Actually, it essentially is, although I'm actually working right now at a summer camp teaching kids video. On top
I
of
do
it
a summer
all.
camp too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm with the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, cool.
I do technology and music. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. I love working with the kids.
Yeah, I do too.
So.
They're fabulous.
Gives me balance.
Yeah.
You know, but also no sleep.
No, there's absolutely no. Forget about that part.
What can you do?
You brought a clip.
I did.
That we're gonna take a quick peek at.
Yes.
Can you set this up for us, please, so we'll kind of know what we're looking at?
Yes. So, in this clip, the protagonist, who is played by me, his name is Kieran, has just gotten his HIV positive diagnosis, and this is sort of what we call the cold open of the series. It's the opening sequence before we would roll title credits. So that's what's happening here.
Get you right into the storyline.
That's the idea. We're trying to hook our audience. So I guess we can check it out and see how it.
Well, let's
how
take
it
a look
looks.
at that.
Excuse me.
Hey, on or off? On or off?
On.
You sure?
Yeah.
You positive?
Yeah.
Wow. That sets the storyline. That tells you what's going on right away.
It does.
It's very, very strong.
Thank you. Yeah.
No words.
I think that
There's
one's
a lot
little
of emotion.
bit.
I mean, the baby crying and that whole thing.
Especially my niece.
They work cheap. Family will work for them, not that.
They're the best. I couldn't be here without him.
That whole working your way to the elevator in the line, are you positive?
Yeah, and people say it all the time.
Do they really?
It's
just a phrase that you're using. It has nothing to do with...
Right, and I think that's sort of maybe, hopefully, the first hint at a chuckle, a moment where maybe the audience is thinking, is it okay to laugh at this? Am I allowed to laugh here?
I would like to hope that a culture that we finally become, that we're finally getting to, can be at least smart enough to know that having HIV, as serious as it is livable.
Yeah, well, it's a manageable condition now.
It's a manageable condition now. It's not a death sentence.
Yeah, I think especially in,
I'd be freaked out, no question.
But I think that's sort of what we're trying to play on is that there's sort of a line where, while it is a manageable condition, I think that people also still, it's a heavily stigmatized condition to have, and so people, there are studies actually that show that people who are diagnosed as HIV positive will often kind of like, fall into a deep depression, go into themselves, maybe
which isn't helping their
things.
Physical body anyways.
Right, exactly, and I think it happens to probably a huge chunk of people who get that diagnosis, and so the series is aiming to kind of play around with that and also kind of be able to, and this is why we want to make a series about this, is to be able to kind of then explore.
I don't think the story can end.
How life goes on.
Yeah.
And that sort of is a different thing from
and all
what
the
we
things you
often
run
see.
into, and all the things that the stereotypes, the prejudices, all that kind of crap
Right.
can come out.
Yeah, and then also all the banal stuff.
Yeah.
The day to day,
And plus, you'll also be educating people a little bit. Maybe they'll learn something.
I think our primary goal with this is really to entertain people, and we want to just tell a story that's exciting and engaging.
I want to teach people things.
If somebody learns a thing or two about what it is to live with HIV in the meantime, then that's just gravy.
We talked a second, and we're running out a little bit of time. We talked for a second about whether or not this was something that was helping you to cope or helping you to manage. I'm chewing the wrong words up here. Is it working?
I'd say so. I'll let you know.
How do you feel?
Well, we shot the first, the opening sequence, like I told you, and we actually shot that at AIDS Action Committee. The executive director there.
Oh, really?
So
you were right in the.
us.
Okay, great.
Yeah, they've been really, really great to us. So it was a fantastic day of shooting, and we got a lot done. That said, there are about 42 pages left to shoot. So right now we're running a Kickstarter campaign.
What's a Kickstarter?
Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform.
So people can go to a website and help out a little?
Exactly.
What's the website?
They can back the project. Our website is called unsurepositive.com.
And they can get a couple more scenes too there, right?
In fact, the whole first 10 minutes of the series is up and live right now. It's a rough cut, but it's up there on Vimeo.
What's the website again?
Unsurepositive.com.
If you go to It's All About Arts and click on your name right next to it, it goes to that website.
Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. No, that's okay.
It's a big deal.
Thanks for coming in. And
Thank you for
since
having me.
this is a process, let's not be strangers, okay?
Absolutely
Let us
not.
know what's going on and come on back in and talk about the process of getting it back to the end.
I would love to do that.
I do cameos, I can be the elevator operator or I can be the cab driver.
We can talk about it. It's something we can talk
But
about.
I can't talk because then you have to pay me.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you so much for coming in, and
Thank
good
you.
luck,
Thanks for
okay?
having
And keep
me.
us
Thank you.
abreast of what's going on.
Excellent.
Hey, listen, gang, we're only halfway there. Why don't you sit back and relax? Wasn't that fascinating? Thank you very much, Christian, for coming in.
My pleasure.
We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away. You're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams. I'm your host, and we'll be right back with our next guest. Please do not go away. We'll be right back.
I crash and burn. The rain comes down, the pavement's wet. I'm not alone. When you're with me, it's all okay. I crash and burn. The rain comes down. It's all okay.
Well, thanks for hanging in there with us, gang. Thank you very much for being here with us. You're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and I'm your host. And if you're interested in being part of this whole thing, if you go to www.bnntv.org and click on Janice Williams or Jim Atwood's name, that'll get you right to learn how to get involved here at BNN, how to do some television production, how to be, you know, on TV. It's fun. It really is. So listen, gang, right now it's my great, great pleasure and honor to introduce you to Kathryn Troxel.
Yep.
How's that do?
Good.
Thank
Perfect,
you, Kathryn.
actually.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're back here, and Val is back up here with us. So thank you for coming back. Thank you so. This is amazing. I looked at your website and checked out what you're doing on the website. You're doing a lot of things. You're a graphic designer.
I'm a graphic designer, and this is like my quote hobby that I do.
You actually have it under hobby on your website, don't you?
I do.
It's kind of, but this is phenomenal. Talk to me. What is this that we're looking at? If we can get, yeah, I'll hold this for you.
So it's considered 3D origami. It's one step different over regular paper folding. Instead of taking one single sheet, I take maybe 100 or 500 pieces of individual cut pieces and stack it with no glue into the shape you see.
And do they lock into each other, kind of
so
thing?
You just pull them right off.
No. Don't do that. Wow, they do just slide in there.
And you just memorize the patterns that you want.
I'm sure. That's fabulous.
What's the biggest one you've ever made?
I have made one large one of this. I actually cut the rectangles at, I think they were 4 by 3 inches.
Oh, geez.
And they take actually a lot longer to fold.
The ones with the black, the ones with the black on the back, those look really, really sharp. I like them. And the owl.
Yeah, this is
This is the cool
version.
thing about the owl. Yeah, we've got some images to look at too, but the images won't do this justice. But you'll get an idea of how did you figure this out one day watching the Andy Griffith Show?
I got really sick at my dorms one day, and my friend was like, "Well, here's something to pass your time while you're sitting there not going to class." Gave me a YouTube video to try out one of them, the swans actually, and I got hooked since then. And then I've changed into like creating other things, like I find a pattern of something or favorite cartoon character even, and I can just create it from the bottom to the top.
That's amazing. How's the graphic part of things going? Look at me.
Slow and steady.
That's good. Now I think of advertising when I think of graphic.
It's many departments, many fields.
Do you get to show these any place?
I actually used them at my portfolio show at my recent graduation as my giveaways to get people to like remember who I was.
I'll bet. Did it work?
Yeah.
Are they all made out of business cards?
No, actually, the owls, and I have a little octopus too. You can pop it into like the top half of their heads, and they'll hold the card straight up.
So they're functionable too. Now, the thing that scares me is they're not glued together. See, I'd have this in pieces by the time I got home.
You can pick it up by the body. Picking it up by the neck is usually the most fragile part.
Since this is a hobby, how How long does it take to make one of these beautiful swans? Here?
Folding the paper, since I usually generally take a massive amount of it and fold it all in one fell swoop,
Yeah.
I can build one in about an hour, but folding takes days.
Yeah. And you fold it by hand?
Yep. I
Do you
can take
get
one
the-
of them.
Oh, sorry. Oh, do you get the pieces like pre-cut, or you cut everything yourself? Oh my gosh.
I buy printer paper no heavier than 24 pounds from Staples, and then I just fold it from there.
Oh, wow.
How sick in your dorm were you?
I was out for 2 days.
That's what I was going to say. With
I was
no
out-
TV or radio?
No.
just paper
We didn't
to
have a
fold?
TV at the time, my roommate and I. So.
Where'd you go to school?
New England Institute of Art.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, and that's where you studied to be a graphic designer?
Yep.
What kind of graphic designer are you? Do you work with all those cool Adobe things?
I do most of the Adobe programs.
Yeah.
I don't do much web design yet.
Okay.
I'm dabbling in it. I'm not that great. I started off as a graphic designer, and web has joined the program. But I like to be more of like a digital artist.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
My Janice is a digital artist, too. She does a lot of things with paintbrush.
Yep.
You know, so she gets in there and she does a lot of things. She's got her little tablet. Do you have one of those tablets
I have one
you
tablet.
use? You know, is that always when you started off as an artist? Did you think that it would be?
I thought I was going to be just a basic illustration artist.
Yeah.
My older sister was a big illustration artist, and I always was like, I'm not going to be like them, but it really intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a technical high school, and the illustration program had actually closed down. And I was like, well, what's the next best guess? And it was graphic design, and I fell in love with it from there.
You've done some illustrations, though, for books, haven't you?
I did some for class, yeah.
Yeah, were those with the kids' books that I was looking at?
Yep.
I mean, that was fascinating. That looked like it was fun.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting and actually
Yeah.
time-consuming. A lot more goes into drawing a children's book image than I thought.
Yes, yes. You have to think of the kids.
Yes.
Which is
It's a lot harder when you're an adult now.
I don't know. I can still think like a kid sometimes.
I can think like a kid, but it's just how the images where I thought would be good would be considered something provocative or insulting in other ways.
Why don't we take a look at some of the images that you sent us so that we can kind of get, maybe a little closer look. Not that you didn't do a great job. Now, this one is cool. This is for breast cancer?
It's for breast cancer.
Yeah.
My school does a program called the Bras for the Cause, and I thought it was only for our fashion department. So I took on the challenge and I built a bra out of the paper and ended up finding out it doesn't matter what major you were in as long as you make a bra.
You can be a part of it. That's great.
The light pink is one type of paper, and the harder pink is a
I
harder
was
type of
going to
paper.
say, the different style, would you work in different strengths?
Yep.
Yeah.
The light pinks are 20-pound printer paper, and the harsher pinks and darker colors are usually 24 pounds.
No, it's not very much different.
No. It just means the strength when they fold.
There's my friend.
Yep. I made that for a paperweight for my dad.
Oh, I love that little guy.
It's awesome.
That's so cute.
And he's made out of a recycled engineering book, which is ironic. My dad's an engineer.
Now that's a concept I think that's pretty cool. Taking a book and making a piece of art out of it.
His office place
Depicting-
was going to recycle it, and he
Yeah.
just scooped it up and was like, maybe you can do something with it.
Now, can you make a giant Flemish rabbit?
I might be able to.
Okay.
Might be able to. I'll give it a shot.
All right. Got me blushing.
Okay.
Oh, they love each other.
Yep, I made those especially for my mom and my dad for their anniversary.
Oh, that's nice.
And those ones represent me and my sisters, or my sisters and I.
Yeah, it's me and my sisters.
This
And
is
then
another
there's-
piece for breast cancer.
Who is this?
It's a teddy bear,
Nice.
and the keyboard and the camera lens in the back are for size.
Yeah, I was showing these to some friends of mine, and they said they commented on the size because of the lens cap you have there. They said these aren't very big, and I said no, they're not.
Most
Which
are
is even
pretty
more
sturdy.
fascinating.
Now, do you have any younger cousins or nieces or nephews?
I'm the
that,
baby.
Oh, you're the youngest?
I'm the baby.
I was going to say, kids must love these. They must ask you how to make them and
Yeah,
teach them.
I found out at my portfolio show one of the teachers brought his daughter, and she was just enamored with it, and I was worried she would like drop it. And since they're not held together by anything, I was like, oh no.
Does that happen? Does somebody come back with one and say,
Oh yeah.
give you 5 pieces?
Well,
or,
most of the
or
pink
50
ones,
pieces?
most of my pink ones go to Bras for the Cause, and I can't tell you how many times I get calls being like, the neck has fallen off, or someone dropped it, and I was like, it's okay, I've memorized the pattern, I can fix it on the spot.
How many pieces of folding paper go into one of these doves?
One of the swans is,
One of these swans, I'm sorry.
over 600 pieces of paper. Give or take.
Do you ever get
Give or take 100?
Give or take, like it's like 348 pieces of white and then 240 something color pieces.
That's beautiful. It is beautiful.
Do you ever get tempted to maybe cheat a little bit and use some spray adhesive to stick them together?
Sometimes the beaks with the harder papers, they don't stay on, so I actually glue them on lightly, but they still come off right away.
That makes me nervous. Don't do that. Pulling his beak off. Well, this is fascinating. This is great, great work. Do you have a website where people can go and gift these?
On my website, my personal website, I have a personal email you can reach and email me directly and I can talk to you about prices.
What's the website?
Troxel-designs.com.
But you do everything out of that, right?
Yep.
Are you working for an outfit, for an advertising agency, or are you freelancing?
I'm freelancing and I have a job at the Boston Voice newspaper right now.
Oh, you're working at The Voice?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They're actually the people who got me here.
Oh,
so
yeah, okay. Yeah.
I started as an intern there.
Are you writing for them, or are you
I'm their
doing...
newspaper layout designer.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, a lot.
I'll bet. Yeah, that sounds like exciting work.
You must use a lot of your graphic design background
Oh yeah,
for that.
I do the whole layout. Like if you look online, the new issues, the last 3 are mine.
They're harder than you would think laying out newspaper articles.
Oh,
it's
definitely.
not just laying down paragraphs. It's, well, this, you got to make sure this word doesn't go into that, and then this paragraph starts here. And
Yep.
it's a lot more complicated than people give it credit for.
It's a lot harder, and then it's even harder when I receive a file of like an ad, and I know it's not great quality, and I have to be like, hey, there's
That
something wrong
callback.
with this.
Yeah.
Like,
That font's not that great. Let's,
yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you still take the letters off of that rack and line the letters up? And
Not anymore. I learned about that, and my grandfather actually had an old one. And I loved like learning and playing with them when I was younger.
And then having to offset some metal so that you'd
my
be able
gosh.
to, that the pictures and all that was done that way.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the day. Well, that's really fascinating, Kathryn. Thank you so much for coming in and being with us. These are fascinating. Good luck with your graphic. You do it. I asked another graphic designer this. I think I should ask you this too. Is it still that you kind of go into a boardroom with your idea on
Sometimes.
a big whiteboard and
In a larger design
sell
firm,
it?
I would think so. Right now, with the smaller newspaper, I have an idea and I can just pitch it out right there. And if it's good, I can try it. And if not, at least I tried.
Yeah, yeah. And is you're getting it past editors and producers, publishers, right?
I go right through my boss directly, and then from there, it's a food chain back to me.
Right. And if it goes wrong, it's your boss's fault, right? It's not yours.
Well, it comes back.
The Voice is a great, great place.
Yeah.
And the people over there.
It's a big family.
Are fascinating folks, and they do a great job. You're in a good place, and that's good. I'm glad you have time to do these.
They're gorgeous. Do you ever name them at all?
I haven't started naming them, but I love the texture of them.
Yeah.
So I always find myself like when they're
Touching
built,
them
I'm just
kind
like
of.
petting it.
Yeah. Oh, they're great. They're so great.
Do you sit in front of? I'm fascinated with the fact that you got to be able to fold.
It becomes muscle memory after a certain amount of time. So it means I've folded it so many times. I was just joking with my mom. I have claw fingers. If I was a crab, I'd probably be really good with my life. I had high anxiety when I was younger, and finding this just became some way when I got anxious or overwhelmed with something. Instead of just curling up into a ball, I would just be like, let's fold some paper. And eventually I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not anxious anymore.
It's fascinating you say that. I have a guest that comes on every 7 or 8 months, and she's very anxious. I mean, this kind of anxious when she comes on. She's a fascinating artist. But she sits there and does origami the whole time. Just sits there. And by the end of the interview, there's 4 or 5 swans sitting here.
It's usually like, I see it as something as mind-numbing. Like, it lets you focus on something and still interpret everything that's coming in without yourself being like, what do I have to do with my hands? What am I doing with my body? Like, what am I doing? Like, you don't focus on that. You go, I'm folding this cross-section here, and so on and so forth.
Well, Kathryn, I want to thank you very much for coming in. It was great to meet you, and I'm sorry. Did you get lost?
Just a little traffic on the way here.
We will bring that back. It's okay. Listen, gang, thank you very much for being here with us. We appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. We're at the end of our show. Next week, Next week we're going to have the Rosnell Arts Alliance in here. They're going to be coming in to talk about some great work. They have hung all their work out here into the B&N Art Gallery. So listen, we're going to say goodnight. Val, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was great to catch up with you, and we're going to have a great show. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for being a guest on
Thank you for inviting me.
It's great to have you. Listen, gang, get out there and do something artful for yourself this week, please. Get out there and do something artful. And like I like to say every week, please keep in the forefront of your minds our mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on foreign soil. Please do something artful. Do it for them and do it for yourself. We'll dig you next week, okay? Thanks an awful lot for being here.